Chase Australia.
Tonight in 7 News, lockdown in limbo. 2 more cases reported, but no decision on Easter until tomorrow.
But many people cancel their holidays anyway. Bluesfest also scrapped as Byron Bay records its first case.
Vaccine doses wasted, overheating en route to Queensland clinics, our exclusive investigation.
Isolating on a train in the outback, wedding plans up in the air, the inconvenient truth about lockdown uncertainty.
Heavily armed police swarm in Ipswich Street as they hunt down an armed suspect.
First look at what Aussie athletes will wear at the Tokyo Olympics.
And 100 years of history, a major milestone for the RAAF.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Sharyn Ghidella and Max Futcher.
Good evening. Queenslanders will have to wait until tomorrow morning to find out if restrictions will be eased for Easter.
In encouraging news, just 2 new community cases have been recorded, but the Premier is yet to rule out extending Greater Brisbane's lockdown.
Queenslanders heeding calls to get tested in queues and queues across the state, all joining the waiting game.
You've got 3 or 4 hour waits, it looks like.
I actually came last night, but it was such a big queue, they said they probably wouldn't be able to see me.
But will all this be over in time for the Easter break?
Fingers crossed, all will be looking good for Easter.
After more than 33,000 tests in the last 24 hours...
Today, we have some very encouraging news.
With 3 new cases, 2 from community transmission.
We're very pleased with these results, and I think all Queenslanders should be proud of the mighty effort that they've put in.
I think it's a very positive step. We know it's still a significant concern.
After a 3rd health worker at the Princess Alexandra Hospital tested positive, she'd been working in the COVID ward, throwing the hospital into a harder lockdown overnight.
So we just need to work out how she got it on that ward. She had been vaccinated prior to working that shift.
Now confirmation the outbreak has jumped the border.
New South Wales has had 1 case of community transmission,
prompting New South Wales Health to shut down the Byron Bay Bluesfest. A man in his 20s infected after going to the same venue as the contagious PA nurse who was on a hens weekend.
Both clusters are based on the B117 variant, which we know is very, very contagious.
There are now 19 cases across the 2 clusters, both with links to patients who tested positive in hotel quarantine. There's the PA nurse cluster with 11 people, including the 2nd nurse and a household contact. The nurse who went to the hens party with her sister and the stripper tradie in Byron, and a man from India who tested positive in hotel quarantine. In the other cluster, the PA doctor treated a returned traveller from Doha. Then it spread to Brisbane's north side to the Stafford tradie, friends and work colleagues. The Health Minister missing from today's announcement, awaiting results of her own COVID test after developing flu-like symptoms.
While Greater Brisbane remains in lockdown limbo, authorities say one crucial positive sign is there are no mystery cases in the outbreak so far.
What we're hoping tomorrow is that we see an end to the lockdown.
At 5 p.m. to end uncertainty for more than 2.5 million people in Greater Brisbane and those anxious to travel freely over Easter.
I'm sorry, I can't help people who have got flights coming in on Thursday.
But we have to wait.
Still the only certainty.
More than 30 extra venues right across Brisbane have now been added to the growing list of exposure sites, including the Hamilton Hotel, where an infectious person spent about 3 hours here last Tuesday at the sports bar and in the pokies room. The full list of locations is available on the Queensland Health website. Anyone who's been to those affected venues is being told to get tested immediately and quarantine. Currently, there are about 1,000 people in quarantine. Tomorrow, the Premier is due to make an announcement about the future of the lockdown at about 9 in the morning.
Thanks, Marlena. And the sheer number of venues included on the contact tracing alerts means we can't cover off the full list during this evening's bulletin. However, we've made sure they are easy to find. You can visit us on Facebook. A 7 News investigation has uncovered major failings in the delivery of the AstraZeneca vaccines. We can tonight reveal thousands have been wasted, overheating en route to Queensland clinics. On a record day for COVID injections,
72,826 vaccinations.
Precious COVID vaccines spoiled and thrown in the bin. The Kabul Medical Service in Toowoomba was already 1,600 doses behind on Monday when they received a shipment meant for someone else. Wrong address, and the vials were no longer cold enough.
So that was 100 vaccines that were delivered to us by accident that can't be used.
And they're not alone.
I'm aware of at least 2,000 vaccines that have had the same problem between here and Brisbane in the last few days that now can't be used.
That was Cambu Health in Ipswich, where the delivery indicated they'd overheated.
There were 2,000 vaccines at the shipment. With the indicator, basically there was a marker on the indicator that stated that there may have been a cold chain breach, meaning that the temperature could have been outside of the recommended range during that shipment.
The Toowoomba practice is fully booked, but its vaccines haven't arrived.
I don't know why the logistics are as abysmal as they are at the moment.
It's something we're constantly looking at and constantly learning if there are issues to make sure that they don't get repeated.
The wastage emerges just as a stoush over vaccine supply erupts between Queensland and Canberra.
No, we are not stockpiling vaccines.
But the Premier says uncertainty of supply from the Commonwealth has meant they've not injected them all in case they're needed for second-round doses for doctors and nurses.
You ask them to tell me what is their continuity of supply. I think the public have a right to know.
Hospitals sometimes notified of deliveries on the morning they arrive.
That has required the holding back of enough doses to ensure that we can administer the second dose.
Well, I don't agree with that. They have a 12-week forward projection of dose distribution to all states and territories.
Either way, the rollout is hitting speed bumps.
Supply is not progressing as we had hoped at the start.
It's expected to improve as locally produced AstraZeneca shots are distributed.
The target to get everybody with their first dose by the end of October, that's on track.
Even though fewer than 700,000 of a predicted 4 million Australians have had the jab, the least painful part of the process could be the injection itself.
A large number of doctors, nurses and healthcare workers are about to be forced into quarantine. Joel Dry, you have details of a major development at the PA hospital.
Yeah, Sharyn, any staff member here at the hospital who has set foot inside the COVID ward between 8 p.m. on March 23 and midday March 26 will now be forced to do 14 days quarantine. I have seen the email that was sent out to managers asking for assistance identifying those staff. And it won't matter what level of contact, if any, they have had with COVID patients. Simply by walking through the front door of the ward, they will be impacted. This is likely to affect a huge number of doctors and nurses, likely more than 100. And the hospital concedes this will be hugely disruptive to clinical care at the hospital, but they say it is a necessary step as authorities continue to fight the spread of the virus here at the PA hospital. It's one of the state's largest hospitals and now providing the biggest concern.
There is most likely some environmental contamination.
The PA locked down after another COVID transmission occurred inside the secure walls.
It's really the best place for those patients to be. But it's not a foolproof answer, so I think that it's not surprising.
Last night, an email to all staff alerted them to the action, saying it would enable PA Hospital to put in place processes to manage impacts associated with these linked cases. Now, 3 cases that occurred in an area designed to contain virus spread.
Controlling infectious diseases, even in an environment as controlled as that ward, is not an easy task.
COVID-positive cases are treated in the hospital's infectious diseases ward 5D, along with other patients suffering high-risk infections. Because of the contamination, the ward has now been cleared out and given a full clean. Any staff who've worked there between March 19 and 28 are being tested. That's how the latest case was picked up. Just like the doctor who was infected here at the hospital earlier this month and the nurse over the weekend, once again, no clear protocol breach has been identified, pointing to how this most recent nurse became contaminated by a COVID patient. She was vaccinated, but not everyone in the ward or hospital has been. Criticism is mounting over the hospital's vaccine rollout. 7 News has obtained complaint emails from 1A group healthcare workers. One says Queensland Health has not been prioritising frontline staff, but has been vaccinating administrators and others who would never see a patient.
89% of 1A have had their vaccines.
The PA lockdown now likely to affect other health facilities.
Some of their elective surgery, the less critical cases, to take the increased load from the PA.
For as long as this lockdown lasts. Joel Dry, 7 News.
Gold Coast Mayor Tom Tate is urging interstate visitors to take a punt and book an Easter holiday on the Glitter Strip, saying despite the COVID concerns, it's still business as usual. There are 2 cases on the coast and the list of venues linked to the latest clusters has been expanded, with cafes, supermarkets and retailers undergoing deep cleaning.
An optimistic message to Gold Coast holiday hopefuls from Sydney and Melbourne.
The weather's great. It's no lockdown here.
Mayor Tom Tate rolling out the welcome carpet, saying with cheap airfares, travellers should take a punt and book.
Life is about taking a risk and having a go, and that's how Gold Coast was built on. I'm saying the risk here is $79. If you can afford the $79, I'd have a crack at it.
Venues on the coast visited by those infected today underwent intensive deep cleans, including the Epic Escape Room in Southport, visited on Sunday between 1:45 and 3:30.
We were contacted at first by the customer themselves.
The Lean Chef Kitchen on Chevron Island was able to reopen after a positive person went there Sunday morning.
Just some skeleton staff, got a friend in here, so we'll get by.
9 other businesses have also been affected. Tugun's supermarket is open again after an infected person dropped in for 10 minutes on Sunday. So is the suburb's Chempro chemist after a visit on Friday. The nearby Niche Cafe is still closed following a visit on the same day. 52 Espresso at Nobby Beach had a positive customer early Sunday morning. Cura Surf is closed after a visit the same day. Mermaid's Rafiki Cafe is shut after an early Monday morning visit. And Woolworths at Southport Park was visited Sunday afternoon. Hundreds of surf lifesavers are also in isolation after a spectator at the state titles on the Gold Coast tested positive to COVID-19. Anyone who visited any of those events or venues is urged to get tested.
I've already been tested twice. I was vaccinated this morning. It doesn't hurt at all.
As the Gold Coast remains open for business for now. Katrina Blowers, 7 News.
Well, let's go to Marley Hogan in Byron Bay now. And Marley, you've got details on a major event that's been cancelled there.
Yes, good evening, Sharyn. For the second year in a row, COVID has claimed the Byron Bay Blues Fest. Organisers making the decision late this afternoon to cancel the 5-day festival. After speaking with the New South Wales government, together they decided the risk was just too great to hold such a large crowd here in Byron Bay after a COVID case was detected in the community today. Now, that new case has sparked a raft of restrictions for Byron Bay and the surrounding shires. From this evening, people must wear a mask in all indoor public spaces. Now, that is grocery stores, retail stores and public transport. At venues, hospitality staff must wear a mask, and capacity rules have gone back to the 4 square metre rule, and you can no longer stand up and drink. Those restrictions will be in place until at least the end of the Easter long weekend.
Marley, thank you for that. It'll be a nervous night for thousands of small business operators before the Premier announces if the lockdown will continue into Easter. Many were on a road to recovery but have been closed with the snap lockdown. The future for many hangs on how many positive COVID tests there are overnight.
The backbone of the economy, small business, again thrown into chaos.
I just can't believe that we're back here again.
Sisters Maria Nicolou and Penny Colpo run the Joinery Function Centre and Shanu Catering. Hundreds of bookings gone.
The phones kept ringing, the emails kept coming, and people were just cancelling. And you could hear their distress in their voice. They felt bad that they had to do it.
Just when business was on the road to recovery.
This has been a little bit of a kick in the guts.
Thousands are not waiting to see if the lockdown is extended over Easter. Travel agent Pam Goldsborough spent the day sorting flight and hotel credits.
The complete opposite to what our job has generally been, where, we're there selling dreams, making people happy. And the past year has probably been very much, not giving good news.
Saturday's NRL match between the Sharks and Cowboys on the Sunshine Coast has been relocated to Sydney. Extra seating was set up. 6,000 fans will now be refunded their tickets.
We looked at all options that we could with the NRL and we support their decision 100%.
Attractions like Sea Life are hoping Easter long weekend events can go ahead.
Brisbane is a huge part of our visitation, so this weekend will definitely hurt us if Brisbane doesn't come out of lockdown.
Businesses are clinging by their fingertips and they need some certainty.
What I say to the public is this is very encouraging, and we'll be providing you with an update again tomorrow, 9 a.m.
The country will be watching. Michael Coombs, 7 News.
And 7 News will have full coverage of the Premier's lockdown announcement at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Plus, later in the Bulletin, the impact on weddings across the southeast and beyond. The couples who are crossing their fingers they'll still be able to tie the knot this weekend. That story coming up soon.
Heavily armed tactical police have shut down a Bellbird Park street and gone door to door searching for a gunman. Neighbours heard 2 men arguing before several shots were fired, with one of the men hit in the arm.
Running across the front of a Bellbird Park home, an unbelievable sight for Jean-Pierre when he answered the door.
It's not really what you expect when you turn off your lights at night. It's coppers with big guns at your front door.
Armed police chasing a gunman who moments earlier fired a sawn-off shotgun.
Then another shot went off. Then the third shot went off. Some guy comes screeching down the road, yelling out it's been shot in the arm.
Police say 24-year-old Jake Brown had an argument with a man next door when he started shooting.
And next minute, really loud, horrific scream saying, I've just been shot, and people yelling about you've just shot him.
Brown quickly fleeing in a silver hatchback.
The cars come out, skidding out of the street, getting away, and then it was dead silence.
He drove to a house in North Baval where police caught up with him 2 hours later. Brown then tried to escape again but was arrested after hitting tyre spikes on a nearby street.
There was a police car pulled up at the front there with their guns drawn, and I thought, well, this is more serious than I thought.
Brown was charged with 2 offences, possessing a shortened firearm and acts intended to cause grievous bodily harm. Already on a return to prison warrant, his case was briefly heard at Ipswich Magistrates Court before being adjourned until tomorrow. His victim suffered minor injuries, while his neighbours were left with a night to remember. Elliot Chipper, 7 News.
A 46-year-old man has been charged after a fatal boat crash at Chelmer. An aluminium dinghy with 4 people on board was travelling on the Brisbane River in November when it hit a private jetty. A 21-year-old Ipswich woman died at the scene. The Thornside man is facing multiple charges, including dangerous operation of a vessel causing death.
The woman who filmed the harrowing final moments of George Floyd's life has taken the stand. In an emotional second day of the police officer's trial, one witness broke down, recalling the traumatic scene and how she begged them to check his pulse.
His killing witnessed by the world. Now witnesses on the street that day are giving evidence against the police officer who pinned George Floyd through his final minutes alive and beyond.
I believe I witnessed a murder.
Trained in martial arts, Donald Williams told the court he recognised Officer Derek Chauvin's hold on Floyd as a kill or blood choke.
You called him a tough guy.
I did.
In fact, he berated Chauvin during those lethal minutes.
Those terms grew more and more angry. Would you agree with that?
They grew more and more pleading for life.
Testimony too from the paramedics stopped when she tried to help Floyd.
When you couldn't do that, how did that make you feel?
Totally distressed.
Were you frustrated?
Yes.
The 17-year-old who recorded the phone video that fired global protests, teary, as she told jurors George Floyd could have been her dad or her brother.
I stayed up apologizing and apologizing to George Floyd for not doing more.
This just 2 days into evidence here, and the trial is expected to run for weeks. A verdict is not expected before late April.
In Minneapolis, Tim Lester, 7 News.
America's border crisis continues to grow. Now, heartbreaking pictures from inside one of the overcrowded detention centres.
The Queenslanders stuck on a train in the middle of the outback.
And the next step in the race for space exploration.
But before the weather, how the Royal Australian Air Force marked a century of service. Win the ultimate school holiday family fun pack thanks to 7 News and 97.3.
We're giving away family passes to Dreamworld, Whitewater World, Holy Moly Golf Club and Strike Bowling.
Watch 7 News nightly at 6 for the code word.
Then listen to us, Robin, Terry and Bob on 97.3 for your chance to win every weekday morning.
7 News brought to you by Industry Super Funds.
Police can't help themselves. My super doesn't work out for me. I'll be working forever.
Well, we've worked all our lives for this place. We'd hate to have to sell it to fund our retirement.
That's for sure.
Authorised by B. Dean for Industry Super Australia, Melbourne.
When I became the very first champion of Dancing with the Stars, my kids weren't even born. They are so excited that I'm doing it again. Who would have thought I'd be back here 17 years later with my kids cheering me on? I'm back. Let's see if I can win that mirror ball again.
Beck is back. Dancing with the Stars All-Stars. After Easter on 7.
There's a lot you can do in just a couple of seconds, even with just one hand. Beautiful. I just loaded up on the bunnies tonight. And she's gonna purr like a kitten. Glory, glory to South Sydney.
It's shacking easy to bet anytime, anywhere with the PointsBet app.
Metricon are the masters of stunning home design. Light-filled, affordable homes with practical, stylish spaces where continual innovation for the changing lifestyles of all Australians means you're not just building a new home, you're building a Metricon home. And right now, for a limited time, with any Metricon designer home, we'll spoil you with ducted air and a pool for under $10,000. Love where you live. Metricon.
Introducing free chef-quality cookware from Coles. For every $20 you spend in one transaction, scan your Flybuys card to earn 1 cookware credit.
That's the way to cook like a pro. Coles. Value the Australian way.
On April 1st, health insurance premiums get bigger. But what if this time you didn't feed the rate rise creep and just compared a bunch of great health funds with iSelect? Compare, select and save with iSelect on 13/19/20.
Get moving, Australia. New Cocoa Pops Golden Gaytime flavours here. With a delightfully delicious toffee chocolatey taste. Try new Cocoa Pops Golden Gaytime flavour. Just like a chocolate milkshake, only crunchy.
I'm back dominating the paint. And I'm all over the Sydney Quaddy. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Not you.
PointsBet, it's shacking easy.
An Olympian and his brother on trial for trying to smuggle drugs are awaiting a verdict. Nathan and Drew Bagley pleaded not guilty to attempting to import 650 kilograms of cocaine in 2018. Drew was arrested on Nathan's $100,000 boat after collecting bundles from a foreign ship and a dramatic Navy chase. Prosecutors and defence have now wrapped their cases and the jury is deliberating.
America's border crisis is showing no signs of slowing down, with heartbreaking new pictures emerging from inside overcrowded detention centres. For the first time, Joe Biden allowed cameras inside one centre where a record number of migrant children are being held.
Packed in plastic tents, children shoulder to shoulder, playing and sleeping under foil blankets. This is the reality inside Biden's border facilities.
I'm a father. I don't want to see that.
As a Border Patrol agent, I didn't sign up for this.
1 in 7 at this centre COVID-19 positive, allowed one phone call every 48 hours as a desperately overloaded system struggles to process their asylum requests.
We're way over capacity. We're like 700% over capacity.
If they look intrigued by the cameras, it's because this is the first time they've been allowed in. A surge in arrivals after Joe Biden reversed a key Trump immigration policy.
We'll place them in a raft and say, okay, go. And only God knows what happens to them while they're coming in on that journey. They know that we're releasing them. They know that right now there's nothing stopping them. We're not going to deport them back to their countries.
Relying on US authorities to reunite families on the other side.
The other little girl that I was talking to, I said, do you have a phone number of where you're going so that we can establish contact? She said, I lost it in the river before I crossed.
Cartel-backed people smugglers, emboldened and exploiting the most vulnerable.
For whatever reason, they have fallen through the system or through the cracks.
Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
Security cameras have captured a disturbing hate crime attack in New York. A man can be seen kicking a 65-year-old Asian woman to the ground, then repeatedly stomping on her head. Police say he was yelling racist remarks. When witnesses tried to chase him down, he pulled out a knife. President Biden has responded to the attack, calling such violence un-American. Police are still hunting her attacker.
Chaotic scenes in Britain with large crowds flouting social distancing rules on the day restrictions eased. Hundreds of young revellers took celebrations too far, drinking and brawling in a Nottingham park.
You feel good, you see people around, see friends that you know, and you're like, my guy, my guy, my guy. How you been?
But Europe's third coronavirus wave is threatening Britain's newfound freedoms. Some hospitals in France so overwhelmed by mutant strains of COVID, they're being forced to choose who to treat. Do I or don't I? A COVID cloud hangs over couples hoping to tie the knot with uncertainty over the length of the lockdown.
The moment a brazen thief steals an expensive statue from a Gold Coast bar.
Olympic reveal, a look at Australia's uniform for the Tokyo Games.
And after sport, a Lego lover's dream, a look at Australia's largest exhibit.
Hello, Sarah Jane. 65 years of age, and you have the best outfit here.
Thank you, big brother. If you're just going in there intending to win the game, you're not going to win the game. You need to have humanity.
I'm your friend.
I might be the oldest, but I have an opportunity to prove to people that you can all put yourself outside of a comfort zone and fly.
Oh man, this is such a long way away.
Welcome to my new house, SJ.
Bring it on.
Get your Woolies worth for Easter with fresh, large, cooked Australian tiger prawns. Just $27 a kilo. Save $3 a kilo.
That's why I pick Woolies.
Looking for a huge meal? Grab the legendary Subway footlong.
At Tab, we're on a mission to deliver a streaming tsunami of racing and sport. Introducing Play Central, the all-new place to watch all 3 Sky Racing channels, the best in US sport, and place a bet while you watch. And the drone delivery? Yeah, it's a bit much. Play Central, new on your Tab app. Tab, long may we play.
Stratco is revealing the biggest big sale offer ever. Take home Stratco Outback and Pavilion patios and receive up to $1,000 cash back with HSBC Finance. Terms and conditions apply. So, you bring the dream, Stratco will bring the how-to.
Oh, another Monday, a whole week to do.
Gotta get up and see it through.
But what if it's different? Shine a light on the day.
Turn Mondays into fun days?
Come, sing it, sir. It's here come Mondays. Now Mondays aren't so bleak.
I compare the market. There's prizes every week.
It's here come Mondays.
Putting Mondays on the map.
Just compare the market.
And please download the
app. Simples.
App.
sub. Yep. Whew. That's a lot of food. Subway. Eat fresh.
You can do a lot in a couple of seconds. Even with just one hand. I just got Lulu ready for Best in Show. And I just backed the one dog in the next Adapto. Beautiful. Go win that trophy for Daddy. Now who looks pretty? Right, me.
It's shacking easy to bet anytime, anywhere with the PointsBet app.
Easter wedding plans remain up in the air tonight with the decision on lengthening the lockdown delayed. A particularly anxious wait for a North Ipswich couple tying the knot just an hour after the restrictions are due to lift.
Engaged for 11 and a half years, Christine and Damien's wedding has been a long time coming, and now it could be even longer.
Tomorrow at 6 o'clock, we're meant to be getting married. That is obviously so long as the lockdown is lifted at 5 p.m.
The North Ipswich couple is meant to tie the knot on the Kookaburra Queen.
We've got chefs on board at the moment cooking up, hoping that everything is still going to go ahead. If it gets cancelled, then we have to throw that all out.
59 guests are on standby, anxiously awaiting the government's announcement.
We've had to let our guests know, look, we won't be letting you know until after 9 a.m. tomorrow.
If the lockdown is extended, they'll postpone the wedding again.
We'd set a date for mid-2020, and then obviously with COVID hitting in February, we had said, OK, we need to stop and put it on hold.
On the Gold Coast, Olivia Otto picked up her wedding dress this afternoon.
It's quite a lot to handle, putting your dress on and not knowing whether or not you're going to wear it.
But she's determined, at this stage pushing ahead in northern New South Wales on Sunday.
Most of our family and friends have to sit outside of our chapel at this stage.
Whatever it takes to walk down the aisle.
We're looking to have still the ceremony and get legally married on the Sunday with just our parents and siblings there.
Wedding day nerves on a whole new level. Alex Lewis, 7 News.
With the lockdown still in effect for at least another 24 hours, there's been a lot of confusion about the rules for travel and masks. Katrina Blowers has the latest advice on the restrictions.
Well, Max, many Queenslanders are wondering how many people can you have in your house at the moment? In the lockdown area, we are restricted to 2 visitors. We should only be leaving home for food, essential work, medical treatment or exercise. As for masks, all Queenslanders over 12 must carry one at all times. You must wear them at Queensland airports, on a plane, taxi, rideshare and public transport. Outdoors where you can't physically distance, and in any indoor space that's not your home. Now, you don't have to wear a mask if you're eating or drinking, if you are driving alone, or if you're doing strenuous exercise.
Thanks, Katrina. Anthony Albanese was at the wheel today, spruiking Labor's revived electric car policy that crashed at the last election. The government has backed the same technology but questioned how Labor plans to pay for it.
Reflecting on the wonders of space, a fascination for kids young and old, finally finding reason to smile.
What's your name? Jenny. That's a good name. I like the name Jenny.
His announcement fast-tracking his already announced $1 billion plan to build guided missiles in Australia.
This is all about ensuring that we have the capability to do what we need to do to protect and defend Australia's interests in our part of the world.
The future is here right now.
A future Anthony Albanese says he's plugging into by promising to make electric cars cheaper, exempting them from import tariffs, saving $2,000 on private vehicles and dropping fringe benefits tax, slashing $9,000 a year on company cars.
In a decade's time, you'll struggle to walk into a car yard like this and find something that's not an EV.
Having attacked Labor's electric vehicle policy at the last election as a plan to force tradies out of their utes, the government now has its own plan supporting them.
That's good technology.
But suggests Labor's policy rollout, paid parental leave, manufacturing, now electric cars, is getting expensive.
They spent $30 billion in 2 days. Imagine what they'd be like if they had 3 years.
Closing Labor's national conference, Anthony Albanese is confident he'll get that chance.
Together we will give Australia the government it needs and deserves, an Australian Labor Party government.
Mark Riley, 7 News.
Stealing a rhino doesn't sound easy, but a man's been busted taking a rhinoceros statue from a Gold Coast bar. CCTV captured the thief walking out of the White Rhino on March 20, carrying the fiberglass animal. The venue has offered $5,000 for its return. The Australian Olympic Committee hopes to have all of our athletes vaccinated by July, ahead of the Tokyo Games, but can't guarantee it. Either way, our teams whose uniforms were unveiled today say nothing will stop them competing against the world's best.
Behind the scenes at this morning's uniform launch, reality struck. An Olympics of symbolic human triumph is happening.
There hasn't been something where all the countries in the world have been able to unite and bring what the Olympics actually means forward, and I'm just so excited to be a part of it.
The Aussies will compete in gear designed for Tokyo's stifling summer, predicted to be the hottest ever games.
To represent my culture, who I am, myself and my family on the biggest stage of all, it's mind-blowing.
Still, COVID cases rise in Japan, and the AOC stands firm on a policy not to jump the queue for vaccines.
Everybody who's involved in this rollout still remains confident that we will be vaccinated in time for Tokyo.
I'm 100% so excited to go, vaccine or not. Like, I'm happy to get on that plane and compete.
And from the dozens of athletes we've been speaking to for many weeks now, that attitude is unanimous. They want to go and be part of the most anticipated Olympic Games there's ever been. They might not march in an opening ceremony, won't have families there, and won't complain about any of it. Modern pentathlete Marina Carrier's parents are planning a street party for their daughter's first Olympics.
I'm just hoping that there's going to be a big viewing party and we could have a reciprocal camera arrangement where I can see you guys watching the TV.
And now, just 114 days to go. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
The trip of a lifetime spent in lockdown. Queensland passengers on the Ghan train stuck in quarantine amid COVID fears.
Could this be the final frontier in commercial space travel?
Dinosaurs brought back to life in Australia's largest Lego exhibit.
And the Royal Australian Air Force puts on a show to mark a milestone anniversary.
Australia, are you up for the challenge?
Everyday Aussies, now it's your turn. Think you've got what it takes? Here's your chance to prove it. Apply now to join SAS Australia at sasaustraliacasting.com.au.
Whatever your claim, big or small, we're on to it. Yui, you insured.
Play your Switch this Saturday at Rosehill and Caulfield on Races 1 to 4.
When something goes wrong and you're injured on the road, you need the right advice. Contact Shine Lawyers to access compensation through your superannuation.
Yeah, I've heard Shine can help.
Shine Lawyers, let's right wrong.
For me, the best way to get the best seafood this Easter is from Coles, Australia's best sustainable seafood supermarket.
Coles Tasmanian salmon portions, skin on, just $24 a kilo.
Coles, value the Australian way.
A foundation that's good for your skin. Really? True Match Foundation by L'Oréal Paris. With 80% moisturising cream and hyaluronic acid for improved skin quality in 2 weeks. True Match Foundation by L'Oréal Paris. In 40 shades.
We're worth it.
Looking for some special treatment this autumn? Well, for all races at Rosehill, Caulfield and Oakbank, finish second or third and get up to $50 back in bonus bets with Sportsbet.
Let me be witty, let me be so ditty in every state and city. How about let you do a double take? I need your money. I don't need your crib. I'm a superwoman, I let you watch me fade.
Bone mass peaks in our 30s. You need enough vitamin D to maintain bone strength. Look after your bones with new Austerlin Bone Strength, with the added benefit of magnesium, iron or collagen support.
I am here to show you all how to Ladbroke it. Let's Ladbroke the action! Let's Ladbroke the riders. Let's Ladbroke the
Time now for a check on the markets with finance editor Gemma Acton.
Thank you. After a lacklustre start to the week, Aussie shares finally caught a break today, closing out the final trading day of the quarter higher at 6,790 points. Shopping centre operator Unibail-Rodamco Westfield was the biggest mover. That's after it signed a deal to give its retailers access to customers of Europe's largest online fashion platform, Zalando. The Aussie dollar has fallen back below 76 US cents, while gold is slipping further away from $1,700. And 72% of city workers in Australia would prefer flexible working to stay after the pandemic passes. That puts us right in line with workers from other countries.
And drivers should avoid the Bowser if they can, with prices at the peak of the fuel cycle. The average cost of unleaded is $1.65 in Brisbane and $1.66 on the Gold Coast. It was meant to be a dream trip on the Ghan Railway, but a Brisbane woman was instead forced to join the lockdown on board the historic train, spending 30 hours trapped in her carriage.
It was meant to look like this. Instead, Peter Harris's bucket list trip on the Ghan looked like this.
It's the best views in lockdown you can have.
30 hours looking out their cabin window, locked down because of the Brisbane outbreak.
Crawling at the window, you know.
Oh, let me out, let me out. I went stir crazy.
The Mount Gravatt woman spent $5,000 on the trip for her dad's 80th last year. COVID forced a rebook back then. This time, it derailed them again.
They just went, you're going to spend the rest of the trip in your cabin.
Upon arrival in Alice Springs, Brisbane's lockdown also arrived.
In border control outfits with masks over their faces, and so that's when we knew things had gone very wrong and the Queenslanders were getting dragged out of the line.
20 of them missing out on tours of the Alice and Catherine Gorge.
The staff were really lovely. Like, they were caught in the middle of a very difficult situation.
The pair dining alone until Darwin.
We're there to hang out with each other, right, Dad? Yeah.
Given a free toy camel.
Look at this fella. Hey?
And train whistle. Turning a negative.
We just had our tests.
Into a positive. Emily Arnold, 7 News.
Space tourism is a step closer with Virgin Galactic unveiling a new spacecraft. A seat on the VSS Imagine will cost $330,000.
It will take you to space. It'll actually tip upside down and let you look while you're weightless through these big windows in the ceiling.
The spacecraft will soon begin testing on the ground. Coming up, blockbuster display, the Jurassic World made entirely from Lego. And the fitting fly pass to mark a century of service. Don't miss that story soon.
Sport now, and it's last one out. Shut the door, Webby.
It's a bit like that, Sharyn. Hello, everyone. Ahead, last word on the fight. Decisive action to keep NRL players safe. The Titans and Cowboys consigned to a doubleheader, but a long way from home. And ominous in Miami. Queensland's world number one finds her best form.
Your Easter weekend is about to kick off. Get ready for Seven's Easter Footy Fest.
Nice!
Thursday, Lions and Magpies in a massive start. Then, our young sons take on the Crows. And Saturday night, the Eagles host the Power. Leading to Easter Monday, Cats and Hawks. And with the AFLW Finals, there's only one place to be. The Easter Footy Fest starts Thursday on 7.
Jump into Easter and get your barbecue sizzling with Woolworths responsibly sourced seafood, like Tasmanian Atlantic salmon, barramundi and Aussie tiger prawns to help support the future of Australian seafood.
That's why I picked Woolies.
At Ladbrokes, our aim is to make racing even more exciting. Introducing our new Chief Entertainment Officer,
Mike Iceberg.
to show you all how to Ladbroke it. Let's Ladbroke the action.
That's not safe.
Let's Ladbroke the riders. Ladbroke the winners. Let's Ladbroke the world.
There's nothing more natural than change. Change helped you grow, to discover. Sure, it isn't always easy, but change has the power to excite, to refresh, to move us. It could be your first front door, or baby's first room. And the best thing about change, if you don't like it, you can always change it. Change starts here.
Hey, check this. Powerball has jackpotted to $20 million. Sound good? Grab a ticket today.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
Well, seems everyone's making the healthier switch to veggie rice.
They'll be switching us next.
Wait, what?
Oh. Pee!
Well, hello there.
Actually, this switch is good too.
Bird's eye.
The Choices Flooring What's Your Lifestyle sale is now on. Our Ultimate Choices Lifestyle collection features the finest in luxury flooring. So go online and view your Ultimate Choices sale catalogue, packed full of savings, inspiration and chances to win.
Know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table.
Punter Assist from Ladbrokes gives you all the tools you need to stay in control. Because if it's no longer entertaining, you've got to know when to walk away.
Take it away, Jose. Count your money when you're sitting at the table.
The twin COVID clusters have Queensland fast becoming a sporting wasteland. The Cowboys and Titans are the latest teams to have matches uprooted and shifted interstate, but some have labelled it a blessing in disguise.
Air Titan, a mercy dash to Sydney, told at lunchtime, wheels up just before 4.
30 players, coaching staff and support staff, so it's a fair group. Be prepared for a couple of weeks just in case. Intent is just this weekend, but be prepared for a couple of weeks.
If it is that long, the coast will take a financial hit. This week, the Raiders, Newcastle next, were supposed to be back-to-back home games.
It's a lot better to be doing this from fourth on the ladder than from bottom of the ladder. So, yeah.
That's the Cowboys, winless. Their Sharks encounter on the Sunshine Coast, now part of a double-header with the Titans Saturday at Cogra.
Probably end up being less travel really because we won't have to fly to Brisbane and bus it up. It's just a direct flight to Cogra, and then Cogra is pretty much right there.
Just 10 wins in 3 years at his new club, Maguire doubled down on his honest but brutal post-match hammering of his team's performance.
I stand by what I said. I was just talking out of pure just want and desire to win football games.
His former teammates won't just be battling the storm Friday in Melbourne, all but confined to their Sydney hotel rooms when not training.
Lucky enough to have some exemption where we're allowed outside in twos wearing a mask, so to be able to have a walk with your mate in the sun is definitely good for your mental health.
Now here's the round 4 tips with Gillian Webby.
Well, you only beat me by 1 last week.
After 3 rounds, you're down by 6. The gap gets wider, like the notches on your belt.
Ooh.
And Penrith's for and against. Put me down for them every week.
Well, the Panthers' defence is premiership material. They'll maul Manly, and Souths will slay the Dogs.
Spot on in a canter, just like the Storm over Brisbane.
Well, I'll be 3 from 3 when the Bronx upset the Storm. Nothing like backs to the wall, and the Sharks will carve.
I'm with you. The Cowboys' problems won't be fixed overnight, and the Titans will pass their biggest test down in Canberra.
Well, here's where that gap narrows. The Raiders to continue their impressive record, and I'm backing the Dragons.
Over the Knights, please, and put me down for the Roosters.
Well, the Warriors will have the injury-ravaged Chooks covered, like the Eels over the Tigers.
That's more like it. They'll remain unbeaten, bit like me. Good luck with your tips.
Yeah, I'm coming, Gilly. Well, the Lions believe they have the firepower to overcome losing their biggest player for tomorrow night's Collingwood blockbuster. Oscar McInerney failed to overcome an...
The bottom line is that the battle's got to be won at ground level. It's not just about the hit-outs, it's about what happens when the ball hits the ground.
Neil, this was earlier in the game. Just watch this.
He was right after being roughed up by Geelong. Wrong result, but right direction
I think
according
one
to
of
the
our better
coach.
performances over the last 4 or 5 years since I've been at the club. So I've never been one to concern myself too much with the wins and losses.
Marcus Adams returns after a year sideline. The match is live on 7. Careers go on the line tonight in Newcastle, where Tim Zhu confronts Brisbane veteran Dennis Hogan. The winner earns a world title shot. Chris Garrett's with the fighter who's convinced his hand will be raised.
Yes, Webby. Dennis has been kind enough to invite us into his hotel room tonight, just before he heads out for a blockbuster bout with Tim Zhu. Dennis, how will you win tonight?
Look, I've been working very hard and, just to make sure I can win every second of every round. So I'll be looking to get the rounds, be getting well up on the scorecards, and again, I will be landing heavy, so if a knockout comes, I'll be looking to finish it.
You envision him on the canvas?
That is the ultimate best result I can get, and I just feel like I can land that punch on Tim.
There's a lot of pressure on him tonight, isn't it? He's saying he'll finish your career, but it's a major setback if you win.
Yeah, look, it's a major setback for him. There's a lot of pressure on him. He's a heavy favourite, which I don't agree with, but he is, and he's down here in Newcastle too, where his dad reigns supreme. So he's got big boots to fill. He's got a lot of pressure, and I certainly wouldn't like that on me at the age that he's at right now.
It will be a fascinating fight tonight, Sharyn.
Sure will. Ash Barty is closing in on back-to-back Miami Open titles. Australia's world number one is through to the semi-finals after winning a gripping 3-set struggle with Arina Sabalenka that lasted 2 hours and 16 minutes.
It was a brilliant match today. I think it was certainly the best level I've played for a long time.
Barty needs to make the final to retain the world number one ranking. The Bulls' hopes in the one-day series have slipped away tonight in Sydney against a near test strength attack. Queensland made just 203 and couldn't bat out their 50 overs. Centurion Dan Hughes and Steve Smith ensured the Blues quickly closed in on victory. The superstars of surfing has descended on Newcastle for the resumption of the World Tour. Aussie Tyler Wright won the first round in Hawaii in December before the pandemic cast doubt over the tour's viability. Competitors quarantined for a fortnight upon arrival in Australia.
There's going to be a lot of surfers who are probably burnt out. There's going to be a lot of athletes. But to be honest, I think that's all of society.
A big part of it is the mental side of it and being able to go through the quarantine and come out of it and just kind of continue on to what you're doing.
The Newcastle Cup begins tomorrow. The event is streaming on 7+. Sharyn, I love reading the sport, but gee, I'm glad that's over.
Nice recovery.
Well done.
Go and do battle with that frog that got stuck in your throat now. Thank you, Webby. Well, dinosaurs are being brought back to life in Australia's largest Lego exhibition. More than 6 million bricks have been crafted into recreations of scenes from Jurassic World. The exhibit took more than 13,000 painstaking hours to build. It opens in Melbourne tomorrow. Dates for its national tour are yet to be announced. My kids will be first in line for that one.
Dinos and Lego.
Got it all.
Can't lose.
Now for a quick look at what's on Sunrise tomorrow.
Thanks, Sharyn and Max. When you wake up, a major cash giveaway that you don't want to miss.
A massive $60,000 is up for grabs. Watch and win tomorrow on Sunrise. See you in the morning, Queensland.
Perfect formation. The Royal Australian Air Force put on a spectacular fly past to mark an important milestone and a special message from the Queen.
And there's some showers on the way. Weather details after the break.
Want to win the ultimate school holiday family fun pack?
Tonight's code word is water slide.
Listen to us, Robin, Terry and Bob on 97.3 tomorrow morning.
And watch 7 News nightly at 6 for another chance to win.
I'm assuming this is your spew?
Their excuses are as bad as their driving.
That's gross.
Highway Patrol. Drivers behaving badly. Tonight on 7.
If your floor tiles are looking a little dated, this weekend is a great chance to bring them back to life. So let's make it happen. Come into Bunnings and talk to us for some expert advice. For this job, we'll be using paint, primer, roller and brushes, masking tape, some sandpaper, cleaning products and safety gear. First step, clean the tiles down and use a toothbrush to clean out any grout. Then, lightly sand to roughen up the surface, clean up and mask up. Now it's time to prime. Once the prime is dry, then it's time for the top coat. It's always best to do 2 coats for the best finish. We've gone grey, but the choice is yours. So there you have it. We'll help you make it happen this weekend. Shop at Bunnings, wherever you are, whenever you want.
back at school can be very different for the 1 in 6 Australian children living in poverty. Billy doesn't have what he needs for school. His learning is suffering and he's falling further behind. Teachers go above and beyond, but children like Billy still need your help. You can sponsor an Australian child and give them the extra learning support to catch up, keep up and flourish. Search the Smith family.
I feel like going back home right now.
This Easter, let's celebrate all the little things that make time together great. The backyard barbecues, kitchen creations, and everything in between. Coles, value the Australian way.
It's all around us, no need to look far. Maybe a sunrise, perhaps in a smile. Some say it's magic, guiding our path.
Cherish those golden to us this Easter. Fragrant hazelnuts, smooth velvety chocolate, wrapped in precious gold. Ferrero Rocher, say it with gold.
Another Thursday. Same focus, same commitment. What you see on TV comes from elite average work down the driveway. Morning, Edna. So when I want to place a fast and easy same-game multi, I use Sportsbet. More markets, more offers and bigger odds. I'm Gary Flynn, wheelie bin champion, and I make it look easy with Sportsbet.
Made from 100% Colorbond steel right here at home, Good Neighbour Fencing is engineered for Australia, only by Stratco. You bring the dream, Stratco will bring the how-to.
Congratulations, you are now officially homeowners.
We think Susie's a con artist. She threatened me.
Be careful.
I am so onto you.
Like a caged animal?
You're not getting away with this.
She'll strike back. Home and Away, next up on 7.
Making news tonight, Greater Brisbane will find out at 9 tomorrow morning whether the Premier will extend a snap lockdown over Easter. And 7 News has revealed more than 2,000 AstraZeneca vaccines have overheated en route to Queensland clinics. There was a spectacular show above Canberra today, marking 100 years of the Royal Australian Air Force. Decades of military history took to the sky with a special message from the Queen.
In perfect formation, the prowess of the Royal Australian Air Force showcased over the nation's capital, including older aircraft from World War II to mark a century of service. The Air Force presented with a new Queen's colour by the Governor-General.
The celebration of 100 years dedication to the defence of Australia and its values and of service to its people.
The flag a symbol of the Queen's trust in the service, honouring 350,000 Australians who've served and more than 11,000 who sacrificed their lives.
It is the people, not the equipment, that have built the Royal Australian Air Force.
After the Australian Flying Corps, the RAAF launched in 1921 with planes used in World War I to lead Australia's air missions in every major conflict since and in times of crisis. It's an impressive display from our Air Force that has protected this nation for the past 100 years, and the next century promises new technology and new challenges to safeguard future generations.
This is the pledge that we make to the Australian people. Then, now, always.
Olivia Leeming, 7 News.
Weather now, here's Paul Burt.
Thanks for that, Max. Hello, everybody. Some coastal showers staying out on the ocean scene today. Looks as though they'll be moving onshore tonight, tomorrow. Let's take a look at the temperatures. 25, 26, the average high across the coastal stretch today. Did hit around 27 degrees, however, in the city and Ipswich. To the charts there, you can see that high pressure system stabilising the weather over Victoria. However, inland trough and surface trough pushing some showers to the coast over the next couple of days. Also, as that high moves into the Tasman, tomorrow we're going to see that steady flow of southeasterly trades for the next several days and, of course, blowing more moisture through to us. Just watch Easter Monday at this stage looking exceptionally wet across the southeast. So around the nation for tomorrow, sunny for Canberra, 7 to 25, 31 and clear for Adelaide, shower 2 for Sydney and 24. Back to the tropics, a couple of showers for Cairns, partly cloudy for Townsville and Mackay, highs of 28 and 30 degrees there. Clear for Mount Isa, similar for Longreach and 33. Beautiful for Rockhampton through to Bundaberg. Then a couple of coastal showers stretching in from Hervey Bay down through Gympie. Fine on the range at Toowoomba. Back home now, a couple of coastal showers moving in. They'll stretch inland towards Logan and possibly Ipswich throughout the day. Tops of 27 degrees in the west, 25 along the coastal stretch, down to 17 tonight. On the water, south-southeasterly winds 20 knots, seas and swell 2 metres. In the city, 25 degrees, getting cooler at night, lovely to sleep in, 17 degrees and a shower or 2. And ahead, partly cloudy for Good Friday, 26 degrees, and in comes the showers, particularly for Easter Sunday and Monday. Similar for Ipswich though, Friday's looking pretty good actually, 28 degrees. Few showers moving in for Monday, Tuesday and Easter. Gold and Sunshine Coast, keep the brollies at bay because it looks as though we're going to see some showers moving in Saturday and Sunday. But Monday, Tuesday, could be seeing some fairly good falls there, depending on what that surface trough does there. So guys, as we get closer, we'll keep a very close eye on it.
Will do. Thanks, Bertie. And that's all from us this Wednesday. Thanks for your company.
Join Angela Cox for the latest from 7 News at 10:30 tonight. And for all your news 24/7, be sure to connect direct to 7news.com.au. From all the team, good night.
Good night.